There we go.
Live and direct, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Monday Night Live. I'm excited because I have two lionesses here with me. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. We have Dr. Natalie Forest, my dear sister, Lena Nolan. I'm excited for today's show because we're talking about a subject matter that is very apropos. And of course, it's an apropos subject matter because, Dr. Natalie, there happens to be an event this upcoming weekend. And I want you to take a quick second along with Lena and talk a little bit about that event and how today's subject matter is directly tied with that event. And then we have a very special surprise celebrity guest. And, we did this, we wanted to surprise our viewers. We have the Dennis Waitley, who of course wrote some of the world's most popular books in personal development. He truly is a living legend, and we're humbled and honored to spend a few minutes with him, and we're going to bring him on in a few moments. But before we do that, Dr. Natalie, Lena, please go ahead and talk a little bit about this upcoming event. Dr. Natalie, the floor is yours.
Well, talking about an upcoming event is kind of hard because I'm so excited about it. It's going to be amazing, and I'm just so blessed to have Lena at my side for this event because it's a huge event. We also have Goldilocks, who many of you know. The three of us will be hosting this, and it is, no pun intended, thank you, Mo, for making this available. It is for real women, about real women, no fluff. So we're really going to talk about the important things. We have amazing people. Marie Diamond from The Secret. We have Dame Doria Cordova. We have Dame Marcia Martin. We have, of course, Forbes Riley, Sharon Lecter, Carrie Conley, Laura Armstrong. I can go down and down the list. We have experts from across the globe to tell us their experiences. Right, Lena?
Yes, it's going to be fire because there's more than 30 amazing and beautiful ladies that are going to be empowering every other woman out there from their experience, not only in life, but in business. And we're going to be sharing from our hearts because we're real. And sometimes we look at the TV, we look at shows, and we're like, well, I wish I can do something like that. Well, we want to show that we all are reals. We are humans. And that if we was able to make it to higher platforms or have what we had, those people also can. So we want to share experiences, all different backgrounds. So it's going to be amazing. And I'm so proud and I'm so thankful for the Los Angeles Tribune and you, Natalie, to think about me on producing and helping co-host this event. I'm very excited. So everybody just get over there, go to the website that is latleap.com and register because we're going to have a lot of prizes, huh?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They're going to be, anybody who is on the registration list is eligible to receive free gifts from all the experts. And I do have to throw something else in there because I see that amazing cup that Dr. Mo Rock is holding in his hand. I do want to mention, if you have not noticed the little hints that especially the wonderful Goldilocks has been sprinkling all over the internet, there is going to be a video and song premiere at this event as well.
There absolutely is, and this event would not be in fruition without these two incredible people. Dr. Natalie Forest and Lena Nolan have brought this together as a community service. I'm excited, I'm pumped up, and I'm ready to bring in today's living legend. I mean, wow, when we talk about legends in this industry, I mean, here we have the author of The Psychology of Winning, one of the preeminent personal development books. Of course, a couple weeks ago, we had the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation here, and we've had so many incredible authors over the years on this platform. But Dennis Waitley is at the top of the list, and I want to thank Dora Evans for making this possible. And I'm excited to spend a few minutes with him to discuss the the changes that he's seen in the personal development industry and how more and more women have been getting involved. And we really wanted to give an opportunity to the women speakers to be on our platform. Because if you think about how many legends there are in the personal development space, you think of Dennis Waitley, you think of, on and on and on. You think of so many men, but very few women. And we at the Los Angeles Tribune are making it our responsibility to change that. And I want to thank Lena and Natalie for being part of that mission. And without further ado, because I know he's on limited time, let's bring in Dennis and Adora. Dennis Waitley, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, Mo, and thank you, Natalie and Lena. I'm excited about your program. What's so exciting to me is that I grew up in a family of women, and women have been the most powerful influence in my life and still are. And men always get mad at me. In fact, they sit in the defensive posture when I say that women make better leaders than men do. And I can prove that by all my experience. I just turned 88 yesterday. So I'm 88 years young. And I have to thank my grandmother for raising me with the seeds of greatness. We planted a victory garden during World War II. And she told me, whatever you put in the soil and nurture will come up, and the weeds will come up automatically. So my mother raised us. My father left home when I was 9. I have 2 PhD daughters who are the absolute highest achievers in the family. So I have 2 boys and 2 girls. The girls have worked ever since they were 15, realizing that they needed to shatter their own glass ceiling. And I'm here to tell you, and not to patronize anyone, that women make outstanding leaders because of what they're made of and what they've had to do through the years. And so I have the real reasons why women make better leaders than do men.
You're absolutely right, Dennis. And that's exactly why, ladies and gentlemen, I try my best to surround myself with as many women as possible, because I know that, Dennis. And with that, Adora, I would love to hear your thoughts. And, I want to thank you for really bringing your friend Dennis here with us, so we have an opportunity to have his wisdom shared with our community. And Adora, being a speaker, I mean, you and I, we recently shared the stage together, and I know you are one of the women that are out there, that are active, that are speaking. And so what's it like for you, and what kind of a responsibility do you see in the industry as a woman speaker?
Thank you for that. First, I want to say Dennis, being that we have him here right now, has been, like you said, he is a living legend and has been one of the men that I've watched invest in not only his daughters, but the women in his life. Mine life being one of them. In my early 20s, I put on my first event, and I thought 1 million people would be there, and if not 1 million, at least 1,000. And Dennis flew himself in along with the Tim Brown, the Oakland Raider, and some other people, but Dennis was the main guy. And I had 75 people there, not 1,000, not 1 million. And I was really embarrassed. I was about 23 years old. And, he called me after and said, hey, it's all right. The speaking business is different these days. And then he said, I bet you even owe some money, don't you? And I said, I do. And I was so ashamed and embarrassed. And he was like, how much do you owe? And he sent me a check for $1,000 to pay what I owed the venue. And, Dennis, through the years, has been someone who walks the talk. So, he just wrote The New Psychology of Winning. And I know this is my time, but this is a good use of my time and there's the new one, The New Psychology of Winning, came out a few weeks ago. And in the beginning, Don Green says, Dennis Waitley's my hero. Dr. DeMartini got teary-eyed because he got to write a endorsement in the book. Dr. Oz, like all the people we know and love, look up to this guy. And so for me, as a woman in leadership, there we go. As a woman in leadership, one thing that has been major is surrounding myself with powerful mentors, including wonderful men who respect and honor women. And Dennis is absolutely through and through been that guy. for me. And I've been able to work with so many amazing speakers, many of the big names. But I'm going to tell you, this guy right here that we have on the stage, like, lives the walk in such a powerful way. So choosing who you hang out with, including men, because I've also worked with men that just needed a woman to fill because they were clear there weren't any women on the docket, right? And then there are men who really respect the women in their lives. Dennis is one of them. So as a woman in leadership, it's important to notice, the people that you're hanging out with, the people that you're getting mentoring from, how do they hold you?
You're absolutely right. And I want to thank you, Dora. And since I know we have limited time with Dennis, and since we're so humbled and honored that a living legend like him is taking his precious time, as you know, Dennis, time is our most precious resource, right?
It sure
money
is.
comes, money goes, but time is something that we can't get back. So we want to respect your time and give you the floor to hear what message you have for our audience, whether it be women's empowerment or whatever you're inspired to share from your heart. Because what I know is sometimes speakers get something in their heart that they want to share, and it just so happens to be the right thing at the right time. So we're going to give you the floor, sir, and hear from Dennis Waitley. Dennis Waitley, please.
Well, thank you very much. I really mean what I say about women. I'm not a name dropper. I don't have an ego. I never try to sell myself, never try to sell me to other people. And I like to be humble because I think all you have to give in life is the best and love. And you don't have to compete, and you don't have to be better than other people. You don't have to compare. And the women in my life, especially ones that I've studied or happen to have met, and let me just preface that by saying my grandmother had the greatest influence on my life of any human being, and I love her more than any other person I've ever come across. And we planted the Victory Garden during World War II. So I was 9 and she was 54. We planted everything. And I said, how do you know it will come up? And she said, because what you put in the soil and nurture always comes up. I said, but why do weeds come? She said, they come in, they don't even need watering. They come in because they don't need anything to interrupt our growth. But she said, the seeds of greatness are in you. So model yourself after people who are humble and who are serving and who really care about other people. So through the years, I've studied women leaders, and I've had the good fortune of meeting Indira Gandhi, of Golda Meir of Israel, the first woman prime minister of a major country where you couldn't even vote if you were a woman. And she became the first female prime minister in a country that women couldn't even vote up until then. And she was a divorced widow from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And she was brilliant. And she was so brilliant and so down to earth that I loved Indira Gandhi. I loved Golda Meir. I even loved Maggie Thatcher, the Iron Lady. And I liked a lot of things she did. I know that there's different political spectrum, but I'm not a politician. I don't take sides. I don't hate anybody. I never deal on complaints. I only deal on what's the answer. So the women in my life have taught me that. One of the greatest women I've ever met was Anne Morrow Lindbergh, the widow of Charles Lindbergh, obviously at the time, the most well-known person in the world for having flown across the Atlantic. And they had their baby kidnapped and killed. And Anne Morrow Lindbergh was the strongest woman that I've ever met, because she went on to write one of the greatest books I've ever narrated and read, called Gifts of the Sea, where she likened life to the seashore and seashells. And so as I've gone through life meeting women leaders, studying women leaders, watching women leaders, I've come up with my own reason. Reason number one, women are more educated than men because they care more about what education does for you, not just something to hang on the wall. There are more women in undergraduate and graduate school than there are men, almost 3 to 1. In the developing countries, in direct sales, 70% of people owning their own businesses are women, because women sometimes have to be entrepreneurial, because there has been a glass ceiling that is not shattered, it's only cracked, but it needs to be shattered wide open. So 70% of women in direct sales are women. They're leaders. They lead the biggest direct sales companies in the world. And I'm not just talking about Amway, Mary Kay, Shackley, Avon. I'm talking about every direct selling company that's really something is usually led by a woman. The reason women make better leaders is because they care about their children. They care about young people. They care about their families. They want their families to be in good health. They want their families to be educated. They take care of their families, and they're multitaskers. Men usually are driven, like I've been driven, by going out and getting something to eat, going out and being a warrior. But women have to live many roles, and I don't know how you do it. And I've always admired women because they can not only be a leader of a world country, but they can also be a leader of a company, a leader of a family, and they also have to take care of business at home. They have to do oftentimes with less time than men do a number of jobs at one time. But let me go back to women will agree rather than fight. Women will listen rather than talk because they've had to for so long. So women will listen to what you say. They'll engage you. They're more apt to talk together and try to figure something out than they are to trumpet and make, shall we say, bluster and boisterous statements. They'll listen, they'll network, they'll come to a consensus, they'll try to agree, and they'd rather get a solution than argue and fight. They would rather have something work out for the benefit of their families, of their children, of their country. And so I think as I watch world leaders, including Merkel of Germany, and including all the women leaders in the world now, I know that the countries that they're leading have done better under their leadership than they have under many of the men before them. I'm not suggesting that women are naturally better leaders. I think they've grown, learned, and had to be, just like my daughters went out and got jobs when they were 15 or 17 years old, maybe thinking that because my sons were in sports and my sons thought it was going to come naturally. And there's a Dennis Waitley Jr. and he thought you could just go out and talk. And I said, what happens if somebody asks you a question? And he said, I don't know, will you be in the audience to give an answer? I said, no, you have to have been through it. And I said, your sisters have had to go out and get jobs. They've done it without asking me. I would have been happy to finance their college education. They did it on their own. They both got doctorates of psychology. They both decided to go their own career path. I never once had to say, this is what you should do. They just did it. Maybe knowing that in a man's world with the macho, my son was a great football player. My other son's a golf teacher. So I've got a fitness trainer and a golf teacher, and I've got two daughters who are really on top of the world. And so I'm really honest when I'm telling you that I've studied women leaders, and I'm Absolutely. So excited that the women that you mentioned that are coming to the program that you've invited, most of them I know, all of them I admire and respect, and we do need more women on the platform. Well, we've got Patricia Fripp, we've got some great women celebrities, we've got Oprah, we've got many top tycoon and entrepreneurial women, but we need more women in front of audiences of every kind to tell the entrepreneurial story of women. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart.
We appreciate you, Dennis. And speaking of legends,
Yes.
we have another legend who I'm about to bring up. And of course, she's a remarkable human being. If I start talking about her, let's see, what time is it? We'll be here till tomorrow morning. So I'm not even going to start talking about her. And of course, that's Dame Doria Cordova. Let's pull her in because I know that Dame Doria Cordova is one of the speakers of the event this upcoming weekend. And Dame Doria Cordova, what say you about women's empowerment?
Well, first, I just want to say that Dennis Waitley and I share the same business partner in the Chinese world, Wilson Lin.
Yes.
Dennis and I have meals together. So we're very blessed. Hello, Dennis. How are you?
I'm great, and it's good to see you. I'm so excited you're part of the program, and it's great to be with you. Wow, I feel like I'm in a powerhouse group here.
Oh, I have to tell you that for me, this is so exciting because I feel that for so long. We had all of these summits with all these beautiful men. And I remember at the beginning of COVID in the Asia Pacific, somebody sent me a flyer or something with a bunch of guys. And I wrote back to them and I said, those days are over. Those days are over. And they were money and you graduated, and they went ahead and literally went out and got some of the most powerful women like this group. And this is the thing, that we are so ready. We have been ready for so long. And we, in many ways, some of the most successful businesses on the planet are actually run by the power behind the power. And the Chinese know this really well, right, Dennis?
There's no question about that. There's no question about that.
So I'm excited.
Most Chinese businesses and Chinese families are run by the women, believe it or not.
Absolutely. And what's remarkable about Dame Doria Cordova, and why I'm so excited about this weekend, and something that is unique about her, Dennis, and I'm sure you know, being in the industry as long as you have, Dennis, you know this. There have been a lot of women speakers, but there have been especially fewer women business people behind the scenes like Dame Doria Cordova. I mean, I know one or two others that have done what she's done behind the scenes, but she truly is someone you can count on one hand. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, Dennis, because Dame Doria, although now, you know, she is a speaker, she's a businesswoman and has been in the industry for a few decades now. And why, Dennis, in your opinion, are people like Dame Doria Cordova so rare? And what can we do as men to make that number increase?
Well, one of the things that said at the beginning of the program, both your initial guests there said that these women are real. And they're real women with real stories, and they've pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps, so to speak. And so when they tell their story, they really do have the story of coming from nowhere to somewhere, because having to overcome various male-dominated industries, which they do, to have women in business who are entrepreneurs, who have their own story to tell. And I'm seeing it all over the world. I'm seeing it in Kenya. I'm seeing it in different parts of Africa. I'm seeing it in Asia. And as she knows, in fact, with Wilson Lin taking us all over China, you know, I've been in 50 Chinese cities in 2018, and it's just absolutely amazing. The women leaders that are coming out of China, they're not marrying as early as we know now. They don't want to marry till they're over 28 because they have careers. In fact, they have amazing careers going all over the world, because they're not just supposed to get married, have children, and leave a stereotyped life. They make their own choices. And so I think not only is she rare, but the rare gem of diamonds all over the world are coming out, and they're just being cut and polished now. And stand by. I'm seeing more and more top women in Microsoft. I'm seeing them in Facebook. I'm seeing them in all the data companies. I'm seeing them in all the banks and financial insurance companies. They're on top now, and they're going to stay on top because what they have is that on tap. They have knowledge and experience, and they've done it themselves. So, wow, I can hardly wait.
We appreciate you so much, Dennis, and I know that we're running on limited time. Do we have 5 more minutes with you, Dennis, or how many more minutes do we have with you?
Well, I've already said everything I know, so I only have 4 or 5 more minutes of knowledge. But
I beg to differ, sir. And you know, I'm just so humbled that we truly have such a remarkable group of folks here. Between Lena and Adora and Natalie and Dennis and Doria. Wow. I mean, the amount of knowledge that is here, the amount of wisdom that is here is so remarkable. So I want to thank all of you guys for doing this really as a community service. And I think right now, you know, Dennis and Doria and Adora, the world really needs leadership. And what the past year has taught us is that we really need a new way of thinking for this world. And so I want to thank all of you guys, and I want to thank Lena and Natalie, because what we're doing is we're really making a difference right now. And there are people out there in the world that need guidance, that need leadership, that need someone to nudge them in the right direction because they're lost, they're confused, and shell-shocked, quite frankly, because this past year has been very difficult for many people, as many of you know. So I want to thank you guys for doing this as a community service. to change the world for the better. And with that, I want to give the floor to my dear sister Lena to see where she's at and what questions she may have for our lovely guests. Miss Lena, please.
Well, first of all, I have to say I'm so honored to be in the same screen, in the same platform with such a legends and amazing people. Dennis, I love everything that you said about women and how, the direct sales industry pretty much have women all over, all over. I was in that industry. I'm in that industry. And that's where I learned that you can be better, that because you get empowered there with the information they provide you. And I think that's part of what that industry does to women. It gives them that hope. And what Natalie and I we want to do, and having Doria in the show, is inspire those out there that needs that that push, that little you can do it, it's okay. We've been through abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, labor abuse. There's so many things that women have to go through. And being a survivor of sexual abuse is have to have all these stories out there and tell everybody it's okay. No matter what happened in the past, you can make it and you can do it for yourself. But we need those amazing men like you, Dennis, like Mo, like my husband, Jay Nolan, that, keep pushing us and supporting us. And I think that's the one thing that you said, Dennis and Mo, how men can do to help women to, get in those big platforms. And I think it's just put them there. There's amazing women out there with amazing stories, but it's that respect that it needs to be given to them, and put them in the bigger platforms and give them that that name, that recognition, that it's okay for a woman to be in those platforms. So I think I don't have questions. I really want to say thank you so much, Adora. Thank you so much, for what you do. Dennis, your words, Doria, I love you so much. And just being Latinas too here, I'm very, very, very proud of that. And just letting everybody know that we're doing this on Saturday and Sunday, and what we're also helping some women's shelter. So if anybody wants to donate to those shelters, they're gonna be able to do it in this event too. So we're trying to pull everybody together and try to make an impact and make a difference, because there's a lot of beautiful souls out there, and they just need to be touched by somebody. And it's easy, especially right now with this social media. People's being indoors for too long, and people are getting depressed and they don't know what to do. And if they just connect to Facebook, Roku TV, Amazon Fire, they're going to be able to see this. So it's going to be very, very empowered. So thank you everyone for that.
Very good. I only have a minute left, but I'd like to thank all of you for including me in this, and tell you that one of the greatest things I've seen is that men look at winning as beating someone. And the Nike idea is that you don't win silver, you lose gold. That's not true. Instead of competing with other people to see if we're better than they are, women are natural born collaborators and sharers. And when I say networking, I don't mean just network marketing. Unless you're networking, you'll soon be not working. Unless you're online, you'll be in some kind of breadline. And women have a natural affinity for collaborating with each other and sharing, rather than keeping the information close to them. They share it with everyone, knowing that they're not giving away anything because they still have what they already have. So bless you all. I'll always be a woman's advocate, and an authentic one, and I'll be behind your cause as much as I can. And the future belongs to my daughters and my granddaughters. And I have great granddaughters who are teenagers. So when your grandchildren have children, you know that the bird of time is on the wing. And so you know that each day is very precious. So the new psychology of winning is, instead of trying to beat someone else and hate someone, You need to be part of the answer, the solution, and always say, I'll make you glad you talked with me today because I'll give you everything that I have without expecting something in return. You know, Katharine Hepburn said something that really got to me. She said, what is love? She said, love is not what you get. It's about what you're giving, and what you're giving is everything when you love.
Wow. We appreciate you so much, Dennis. Thank you for being on our platform, and we appreciate those wonderful words. And you're absolutely right. Men need to stop trying to compete with one another and stop fighting for that number one spot and just collaborate. This is why, in many respects, it's so much easier to work with women because they're not trying to compete all the time or whatever the case may be. You don't need to walk on eggshells and make sure that, you know, you're brown nosing them all the time. Or, you know, with competitive men, it's difficult to work sometimes. So we appreciate you, Mr. Dennis Waitley. God bless you. And I know that there's going to be many more conversations that we're going to share together in the coming years. Thank you so much.
And thank you all. Thanks, Adora, for putting me with this great group of people. Thanks, Mo.
And we are going to, don't worry, Dennis, I'm going to take care of these lovely ladies while you're gone. They're in good hands. I appreciate you so much, my dear sisters. And with that being said, I'm just excited because, folks, this weekend, we're going to have a powerful, dynamic event. I mean, I am just pumped up because I'm going to learn so much from so many living legends. And Lena, I want to give the floor to you, and I want to especially thank you because as the executive producer of this event with Dr. Natalie Forest, this event could not have happened without you, Lena. And so I want to thank you for all the work you've done behind the scenes. How excited are you, Lena, for this weekend, and what can people expect?
Well, thank you. First of all, Mo, I already said it. I'm very excited. I'm being, for the past year and a half, I'm been putting more of my time into creating awareness towards women's respect, all that, stories that have come, that women have to come through, and just being able to have this platform, and you being able to, offering this platform with Miss Natalie to, raise our voice, because I think that's needed, that women can come into a stage and they can express their knowledge. Like Danny said, there's a lot of knowledge that women have, and a lot of time have not been able to express. So have Miss Forrest Riley, Miss Doria, we have Sharon Lester, we have Mary Diamond, we have Dr. Paula Fellingen, we have Colin, we have so many amazing and beautiful, like I keep naming all these beautiful women. We have Erin Hernandez, we have Lene Cook, we have Rachel Hesley, Lisa May. It's just a beautiful crowd, and people is going to be able to learn so much from them, and especially women. So I'm very, very excited because it's that place where a lot of women come together to generate that energy that the world needs to send out, and finally put a stop in all the abuse that is going on out there. I was abused when I was little, and I have to deal for more than 10 years without abuse, and I never said anything about it. I was abused by a family member. And, finally, when I turned 34 years old, with the help of my husband, I was able to speak up and said what happened to me. For years, I just hide it and I keep it with me instead of myself. And I'm thinking all those years, there's more women out there that is going to go through that. And yes, we probably forget about it and just, carry that bag with me for years. But what I did was that I focused on all the positive things. So I believe that there's platform like this where we can come with our stories and talk about how much, we was able to come out of that. And I went to the university. I did business administrations. I did marketing. I run my dad's business. Now I help my husband run our businesses, and homeschooling. So there's so many things as a women we're doing. There's amazing photographers here. We have women that have done amazing businesses, coaches, healers, everything. So you come to this event and you're going to find so many backgrounds that are going to be able to inspire so many women. So I'm very, very excited, Mo. You can tell about how long I'm talking. But I really appreciate the platform that you're providing us to raise the voice of women. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you. And I'm curious, Dr. Natalie, you have been quiet this episode. Of course, I take some responsibility for that, but I would love to hear your thoughts, Dr. Natalie. And I'm just, I have to pinch myself because we just had Dennis Waitley on, and he's such a living legend. I mean, when we talk about someone that has impacted tens of millions of people, how lucky are we to have that surprise guest? And I want to, again, thank Doria for making that possible. But Dr. Natalie, how do you feel about what we've been discussing so far?
I am beyond the moon because I'm right now on the screen with 3 other amazing women, and we're not fighting over the space. We're actually letting each other talk, and we're listening to each other, which is, not always the case when we hear other people talk. But I am excited, not because there are all of these amazing, famous, recognizable women. I'm not just excited because of some of the things that Dennis just said, how we care, how we don't want arguments, and how in one sense we're natural born leaders. I'm just so passionate about this because it's about coming together to collaborate and allowing people to see their own potential. I know Dame Doria, we've met years ago, and paths cross and then they cross again, and there's a reason for it. And so we're coming together now at a time when this feminine leadership is needed. And in that, we're creating this event, and we have people from all over the world saying, can I contribute? I would like to contribute as well. And not in a sense where we're saying, well, I really want to be on the flight. No, it is, what can I give? Earlier, Lena mentioned that somebody else wants to also just add a giveaway. So we're coming together and allowing women from across the globe to realize their purpose and potential. Not everybody's going to want to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. But we can still get inspiration. I'm a historian by trade. So what Dennis said earlier made me think about the things that I used to teach. Women have always run the house. We're natural born accountants, cooks, teachers. We do it all the time, and we have. But we didn't always do it for the limelight. And even now we're not doing it. So now is the time to help push each other forward. Those voices need to be heard. And that's what just makes me feel so, I don't think excited is the right word. It's more like peaceful and calm at the same time, because this is right. And we talk about us women, we talk about, the amazing insights that Dennis had, but let's be frank. As a historian, we always need the support of people who are, quote unquote, in power. We couldn't put this event on right now under the umbrella of the historical Los Angeles Tribune if it wasn't for Mo Rock. We couldn't. We couldn't have Lena on if it wasn't for her husband, who has also supported all of that. And of course, Lena and Jay work together. I know Dame Doria has an amazing husband, and she's also learned. So we couldn't do this if we weren't open. If we were just saying women only, we don't want to talk to guys, that'd be kind of, excuse my language, stupid. So I'm grateful that we have all of the support and that we're taking it, and that these men are giving it. So that's what I'm grateful for. And I know, Dame Doria, I could not be happier that you're there, and I'm so grateful for all the other ladies that you've introduced us to. So what will you be sharing at the event?
I was going to say, I'm going to keep it a secret, but
okay. I understand that.
Well, I always talk about that, create an economic engine around your life purpose. But to tell you the truth, I usually, when I am tuned in and I've been watching the women and I get into things like this, I tune in to something, and then I, will be sharing something that's really appropriate, and I may build on something that is happening that day. But I always go back to that place that it is really important for you to become financially independent, for you to have that economic engine, that it is not a mystery. And the thing is that what most women don't realize, and some men definitely don't realize, is that women are natural entrepreneurs and business people because we can multitask. I mean, I literally like to hire women that have raised families. And I always think about this woman I was living in Singapore. I was married at the time to my other husband, and we were living in Singapore. And I really needed a lot of help, and I couldn't find the right help. And somebody says, "Hey, why don't you go to the American Embassy and put a little note there, because there's the American Club, because there's a bunch of women there that were like top executives and are just dying to work, and they are bored to death." And I put a sign up, and I ended up with this woman interviewing this woman who has run this huge corporation in America. And I said, "What are you doing in Singapore?" She goes, "Well, I really didn't want my husband to be all by himself in Singapore, so I decided to keep him company." She goes, "I don't care how much you pay me. We're really wealthy. We have a lot of money. I just want to go to an office and dress up 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. I just need to be able to put out my energy." And I ended up with this woman that was so brilliant, so brilliant. And she had kind of given that up. And by the time I got through talking to her, I said, "Start a business. I love you working for me, but start a business." And I think within 6 months or a year, this woman had created an empire. She had started. And whenever we went anywhere, she used to say, "Thank you so much for encouraging me." And I saw that she just had created already. She was a top executive, had done family, had done what she needed to do for her heart and her family. And now she could just go to a foreign country and create anything. It was just like bam, bam, bam. And I have so many stories like that. So in many ways, like my sweetie likes to say, women are running the world, and they always have. And now it's time to be paid like that, and to have the equality. We're encouraging that, because remember, there's no country in the world that has equality for men and women, just like they don't have an educational system that works for everyone. So these are just things that we don't fight it. We just, create a new system, the way that Buckminster Fuller used to say, that in order, don't try to change an old system. You create a new one to replace the old ones.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And that's so important, to not just say something because you're an expert in it, but as you said, Dame Doria, to be able to go with what is important in that moment. Because there's going to be a lot happening during the weekend for sure. And Adora, you of course, were kind enough to share Dennis with us today. But when you're thinking about women's empowerment, what are the most important things that come to your mind?
Thank you. Yeah, and anytime he's in the room, especially at 88, I'm just like, he's like a father to me. So I'm like, please, just let's have this moment with him. So thank you. Yeah, I wrote a book called Majestic Money, the 30-day Femme Manifesting Game. But the base, even though women manifested money, and even though the game was money, the base was self-worth and self-love. Mm-hmm. Meaning we will only allow ourselves to receive what we believe we're worthy of receiving, and not just at a logical level, at a belief level. And so it's funny that 90% of that book is, okay, body, I love you. Okay, inner child. Okay, mother, I forgive you. Father, I forgive you. And then the money starts coming. Yes. And so, as we're taking up space as women, like, I don't think there's a better time to be born as a woman. Like, we are taking up space. We are using our voices. Dame Doria talked about using her intuition there, tuning into something, into that infinite intelligence, is where allowing ourselves to feel our feelings and then act based on them instead of stuffing them, instead of pretending they're not there, instead of saying, no, I'm not going to cry. We're showing up as we are with our innate natural gifts. I mean, a woman in 1 month, when she's ovulating, she's aggressive, ready to go. When her, you know, and I'm talking women here, right? So we're talking, she's about to have her time of the month. She's a little more sensitive and caring and whatever. Even that speaks to the nature that is our power. It's our power that we have such range and connectivity to all these, you know, cycles and emotions and feelings. And I think it's really important as women to not suppress those things, but to learn to bring that to the dance in a controlled, powerful way, right? And I just love it. I love listening to each of you. I love hearing what you're up to and how you're shining in the world. And I could go on and on. So
I appreciate you, Dora. And I want to bring Lena in to talk about a family project. And Lena, I know your husband, Jay, is writing a book with Les Brown called The Power of a Woman from the Perspective of Real Men. And you've had the ability to get a behind the scenes look at this particular book. And I'm curious, Lena, what you can share about this exciting upcoming book that I'm pumped up about. I mean, you know, I'm excited to read it. I think it's going to be a great book for everyone, women and men alike. And so, Lena, what can you share about that work and what that means for you?
Well, you know, first of all, is very, you know, as a woman that has been abused in the past and have the support of my husband, and not just the support in home, but have the support of him to go and empower other women. Because if we look out there, the statistic of abused are more than 85% women being abused in the world. And that's just what is out there, and know what everybody, like I said, I didn't talk about it for 30 years. So the statistics out there. So this book, what is coming is that is bringing that power of a woman from the perspective of a real man, because there are real men out there. There are real men that care about us, that respect us, that as a wife, like I believe about being a submissive wife, but that don't means that that woman cannot do what she dream. She cannot do what she loves to do. And it don't means that that man is going to treat her bad and is not going to respect her. So what this book is coming is talking about how that power is coming out from women, how our habits are important. So there's so many good things in that, steps. There's tips. There's, you know, my husband has been in the coaching business for more than 25 years. So all his knowledge is there. Les Brown wrote a beautiful foreword. You all know who know him. He has an amazing story as an adoptive kid, and being around his mom, and you know, all these women that create an impact on him. So his foreword is beautiful. It touches hearts. And you know, this book, what it does is kind of like give you those tools to get that power out of you, and recognize that it's inside of you. We all have that power. We just have to bring it out. So
I'm excited.
And if anybody wants to, you know, we're not launching it yet. It's a big campaign we're doing with this book. So if you want to get notified on this, just go to powerofawoman.book.com, and you can register to just get the notification when the book is going to be launched. But thank you.
I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I can't wait to read it myself. I mean, I think that everyone should read that. Just based on the title alone, it certainly caught my attention. Guys, I'm really, really encouraging everyone, men and women alike, to join us this upcoming weekend, because it's going to be awesome. I mean, just look at some of the names that we have involved in this. Forbes Riley, who sold over $2 billion. Marie Diamond, of course, best known from the hit film The Secret. Sharon Lecter, who, of course, wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And Dame Doria Cordova, who for decades has impacted millions of people. And what they call Dame Doria Cordova in the industry is the teacher's teacher, because a lot of the world's biggest names learn from that lovely young lady right there. Let me point at her this way. Oh no, that's the wrong way. This way. But and I want to give you the floor, Dame Doria, to close out with some whatever is in your heart to share, and also just a little sneak peek maybe for why folks should really watch this event. And I want to also encourage people to put 2 days aside and do a deep dive. You know, the Warren Buffett said that the greatest investment you can make is in yourself. And in my opinion, the greatest investment, the greatest currency, I spoke with Dennis about this a few minutes ago, is time. And so although we are doing this as a community service and we're not charging a fee like many other people charge, hundreds, in some cases thousands of dollars for an event like this, we're doing it as a community service. You are investing your time. So to say that it's completely free would not be accurate. And so especially with all of the opportunities and things out and about, we just certainly appreciate that. But I want to give the floor to Dame Doria Cordova for some final thoughts, whatever's in your heart to share, and just a final message for our audience. Dame Doria, please.
Well, I was just going to say thank you so much for putting this together. And I feel like, if I may say this, I feel like all of you could be my daughters, okay? And some of you, my granddaughters. And what happens is that for me, what some of us that are a little bit more advanced in age, still youthful, still young, still rocking it out there. I can still dance.
Ow. Yeah.
And I still chase around my sweetie around the house. And so I think that you are going to be surprised by all these powerful women that have used their talent and have created tremendous results. I know Dr. Liddy, one of my business associates, is also going to be a speaker in there. So there is going to be some magnificent human beings. And what you need to understand is, like, somebody can say, oh, I've seen all these women's summits. I don't think I need to see one more. The thing is that what you need to understand is that when we come into the summits, we get inspired. And we have sometimes different information that comes through. That's why I want to say I'm going to talk about this, but maybe I'm going to end up talking about something else, because we get inspired in the moment, and there's going to be the synergistic effect. And it could be just one thing that somebody says that is going to change your life. I know that has happened to me several times. I just keep evolving. So watch the whole thing. Take the time. These are rock stars, okay? And these are people that have really created, I mean, in many ways, we have shifted and created new paradigms. So what I like you to do is to really consider, just take the time. And even if you're going to be out there, put your headphones on and listen to the magnificence that are going to be there. And sometimes people go, well, I'll watch it later, or I'll do this, I'll do that. And if there are bonuses for you, and if there's going to be an ability for you to get to know these people, just take it up. Just go to work in listening to people that have really created results in life. So with that, I invite you all to come along and have a beautiful time together this weekend.
Amazing. I'm excited. I'm pumped up. I can't wait to watch. I can't wait to take notes. I've got a couple of my notebooks here. I have this one right here. I'm going to take lots of notes in this and a couple other ones. I'm pumped up, guys. I'm already excited. I mean, we have so many powerful folks. And, I just want to encourage folks, go get The New Psychology of Winning by Dennis Waitley. Of course, we had a living legend. And of course, keep an eye out for The Power of a Woman from the Perspective of Real Men by Jay Nolan. And I'm excited for that one, of course. And check out moneyandyou.com for a free copy of a book that Dame Doria is giving away for a limited time, I believe. At moneyandyou.com, you scroll down, and instantly in a couple minutes, you get a book that I think on Amazon's like $20, but you can get it for free right now by going to moneyandyou.com. I personally recommend it. I personally endorse it, and I think it's amazing. And, I would not lead my lovely community here astray. So trust me and go check it out. And I just want to also say, if you do go to moneyandyou.com, you do scroll down, and if you do download the book, If for whatever reason you don't like the book, I will give you a 100% full refund. I promise you. Just contact me, and it's 100% on me. Okay. And with that, Dr. Natalie, if you have any final words before we close out.
The only final words that I can think of, and Dame Doria sort of gave me the idea to talk about that. You can watch this later on our Roku channel. That's true. However, what you cannot do on the Roku channel is interact with us. So if you want answers to your questions, if you want real action tips that apply to you, if you want to talk to Dame Doria, to Lena, to Sharon, whoever, Rachel, and all the other amazing leaders that are going to be there, you need to be there live, because we're going to pull in your comments just like we're doing through our Monday Night Lives. If you've got questions, bring all of those interesting looking notebooks you have, and then post your questions, give your comments, because the women that we have at this event, they're real. And what I mean by that is they want to support you, and they can't support you if you're not there live. So connect with them during the event. That's my final say for today, and just stay tuned for it, because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening.
I'm excited, guys. And with that, I want to thank everybody. Dora, do you have any final words before we close out? I'd love to give you the floor, just whatever is in your heart to share.
I want to echo what these ladies are saying. I mean, like Lena, abuse was part of my background, and, you know, speakers, authors, events like this took me from living in a boarded up home to working on the movie The Secret, to all kinds of other things, but most important, the peace in my heart and love and joy for what I'm doing. And I still go to events. I'm going to be at this event. I'll be tuning in. So all the greatest teachers in the world are learning all the time. So join them and make sure you attend the event.
Absolutely. For real women, by real women. Yes, these are real women. They are real and they are spectacular. Had to throw a little Seinfeld reference in there. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with this week's show. Be sure to visit latleap.com, register, where you're going to hear Dame Doria Cordova live and direct. And like Natalie said, you have an opportunity to send questions and actually have an interactive digital experience where you are a part of the program and you are a part of the show. I'm excited for all of the breakthroughs. And with that, God bless everyone. Until next time, we're going to sign off. Appreciate you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.